So let's start. Good afternoon and welcome to today's coffee lecture on Agentic AI in SciFinder. My name is Emmanuel Meyer from the Information Center, Chemistry, Biology, and Pharmacy. So let's start with SciFinder. SciFinder is the biggest scientific bibliographic database. It combines the biggest databases, CA+ and Medline, with the world's largest substance database, CAS registry, and provides comprehensive information on compounds and reactions. This database is licensed at the ETH Zurich and accessible via a browser-based interface, and you can access it on our webpage from the Information Center. Under Database, you type SciFinder. If you're a first-time user, you need to register, but then login is pretty simple. If you want to refresh or learn more about SciFinder, there are videos and documentation available through the link here, the question mark. So if you access via your email address, you land from the ETH Zurich, you land on this first page, the landing page of SciFinder. In the middle, you have the search bar where you can enter a keyword, a sentence, a question. And last time in the last coffee lecture, a few months ago, I presented the AI-enhanced search through SearchSense. So if you type a question or a sentence in natural language, the algorithm will be able to translate it into a search term. Of course, the classical search structures is possible on the right with this draw function. And there are several featured search like the advanced search where you combine author search and, for example, topic. You can do some retrosynthetic analysis on the right and some pattern search or advanced tool search for biology. It's always interesting to see what's new in SciFinder. And if you click on your icon, on your profile icon, you can see this menu, what's new. And actually, since a few weeks, there is this little icon, Ask CAS Newton on the left. And if you type, you have an AI agent working for you. And I'm going to present now Newton or Ask Newton. Since April, it has been integrated into CAS SciFinder. It's, as I said, an agentic AI built on the whole content, on the data of SciFinder, this content collection. And this complements the AI-driven search, which existed previously, the SearchSense. And like SearchSense, CAS Newton enables you to ask or to write queries in natural language. It's very easy to use. So it's like a bit like ChatGPT. In the middle, you have the box where you can type your question or your query up to 1,000 characters. On the left, you see your history, your chat history, which you can download or delete. There are some suggestions what kind of question you could ask, like in organic chemistry. What thioureas are used as catalyst in stereoselective aldol addition reactions? Or what are some recent trends in plastic recycling process? What is quite powerful is to combine your question with a structure, a chemical structure. And that's unique or not seen in other AI tools. So, as I said, you can ask questions using text or combine it with a chemical structure, and the responses which are generated by the AI include then links to relevant sources and contents of the whole collection of data of SciFinder. So we could, for example, ask the following question or statement. I'm interested in studies where the word photoredox is given in the title, abstract, or concept, and where one of these substructure reaction is mentioned. So if you do it in a classical way, this is not so easy because it's difficult to combine a reaction with text. And if you do that, you get then a one-page summary. For example, in this case, Ask Newton, C.S. Newton tells you that it found 723 photoredox references with the reaction structure that mention photoredox in the title, abstract, or concept. So you can click on the link, and then you have all these 723 references, which you can refine, filter as you're used to with SciFinder. And also it suggests you some relevant references which you can directly access. So that's very powerful because it combines query with structure. So what are the differences between Search Sense and Newton? Well, Search Sense converts mainly the query mainly into a structured Boolean query, whereas Newton is a more complex chat-based system that plans, searches, and analyzes. So Search Sense uses LLM to understand the query, and Newton has multiple models and a coordinator, which searches then within the database. But the biggest difference is the data access. So Search Sense uses only the index of CAS, whereas Newton uses the whole collection. So it has access also to non-indexed material. The output of Search Sense is it directs you either to the result page or gives you an AI-generated summary with the top 20 publication. Newton gives you also summary, insights, and or links to SciFinder results. So not only citations, references, but also CAS numbers. In Search Sense, the query interpretation is visible, and in Newton, you see in blue the data, the CAS number, or the citation, which is linked to the results in SciFinder. So what are the strengths and limitations of Newton? I think having curated data is very important, and SciFinder uses this database, or Newton uses the database for solitary information retrieval. It's important to know that the user queries remain secure and are not used for model training. You can, as I said, export the result by switching to the classical SciFinder and then continue with the filtering and refinement as you are used to with the classical SciFinder. You can include structures, or you can also describe in words a structure you would like to have, like I would like to have this substituent shown in the structure with up to 6 carbon atoms. So this is something which is not difficult to have with a classical search. And you can also request experimental protocols. So Newton is able to retrieve information which are not explicitly indexed, like enantiomeric access or purification method. Now I'm coming to the limitations. The usage is limited to a very small number of queries per day because it's very high. It needs high computation power. And depending on the complexity of your request, you can have from 1 to 7 queries per day. So a recommendation would be to use it if your classical search is not successful. And also, as a final word, it's very important always to check what the AI suggests you. All the references need to be checked. For example, I tried this question or this query. I'm looking for a kilogram scale reaction that uses AIBN as a reagent, but do not include benzene, toluene, or xylene as solvents. So it found 3 papers. Unfortunately, the answers were not quite correct. So in one paper, it was a wrong reagent, not AIBN, but AIBA. And it was not a kilogram scale, but milligram scale. So there are limitations because it's an AI, but try it. It's worth to try with your scientific questions. Don't know. Have you ever tried already? Newton.
So Newton is Newton. It's so far the source.
Yeah. Okay. So I can recommend you to try it and make your own experience. With that, thank you for your attention. You can scan the coffee lecture card, access the coffee lecture card, a summary of today's coffee lecture. And I'd like to advertise the next one, which is next week on Tuesday on